Coming up, how a local teen is honoring 13 service members who died in Afghanistan.
State leaders in Minnesota tour areas scorched by the Greenwood fire. What the governor has to say about firefighting efforts.
And an update on a boy who relies on blood donations while battling leukemia. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
I did it for the 13 service members that were killed in Afghanistan. It really hit home. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
New at 10 tonight, a North Dakota high school student spent his Labor Day today walking 13 miles to honor the 13 U.S. service members who were killed in that suicide bombing at the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan.
And as Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd tells us, he did it while carrying a very heavy load.
17-year-old Donald Worrell from Lisbon spent 10 weeks this summer in basic training, following in the footsteps of both his father and brother. Just a week and a half after returning home, he heard the news of the 13 service members who were killed in the recent suicide bombing in Kabul, Afghanistan.
It was hard to see because I'd just gotten back from basic this summer, and it was maybe a week and a half after I got back, and I figure, why not do something for them?
The high school student and now National Guard member spent 3 hours of his Labor Day carrying more than 40 pounds of gear down Highway 32. 13 miles for the 13 service members lost.
Mile 8, 9, 10 were rough, and then I looked down at my watch and saw I was at mile 11 and realized I had 2 miles left and just went.
Worrell's father was deployed to Afghanistan in 2012.
He lost 2 guys over there, and I was young, so I didn't really understand what was going on at the time, but when I saw this, it made me realize, it's still happening. I don't know, it hit hard.
Yeah. He says through the trek, he knew he couldn't give up.
I had to finish no matter what, because I started it, I had to finish it, and they pay the ultimate sacrifice, and I figured it's the least I could do. So just push to the end until I get to the 13th mile.
Worrell says he knew it was going to be tough, and although he is sore, he's glad he did it.
I'm glad I could do my part and try to honor the families of those service members lost.
In Lisbon, J.C. Dodd, Valley News Live.
What an inspiration. After finishing his senior year, Worrell tells us he'll have a few more weeks of guard training before heading off to college to get a degree in elementary education.
Well, hopefully you had a chance to spend some time outside today on this Labor Day. Conditions were quite nice as we mark the unofficial end of summer. Nathan Hopper standing by to tell us more about what is happening right now. Nathan.
Thanks, Tom. We are tracking some storms at this hour, which is good news that these storms didn't move in until late in the day on Labor Day, so most folks had plenty of time today to get out and enjoy the outdoors. A bit of a breeze picked up now in Fargo on our Luther Family Ford Skycam. The camera's shaking a little bit, and the trees in the parking lot there also can show some motion on them as well. One thing you've seen scrolling on the bottom of your screen recently has been a severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll take you in to portions of Mahnomen and Norman County. As you can see, there is a severe thunderstorm moving into Mahnomen as we speak. 1 inch in diameter hail is the primary concern from this little cell. 50-mile-per-hour winds, most likely less than 50-mile-per-hour winds occurring with this particular cell, but still could see some severe hail with this storm as it moves into Mahnomen. Some other areas impacted include Twin Valley, but Mahnomen is being impacted by this right now. This warning does go until 10:30 p.m., so about another 30 minutes or so on this warning as that pushes into portions of Norman County and into Mahnomen County as well at this time. So for you folks in Mahnomen, you do have time to get indoors away from those windows before the main part of the core from this system moves into your area. So yeah, take caution as that hail could be up to 1 inch in diameter. Big picture elsewhere. Most of the activity now in portions of northern Minnesota and exiting off toward the east very quickly, which is good news. These are not sticking around for very long, especially with that hail potential in some of these storms. We'll take a close look in here in portions of, say, Beltrami County. There is some heavy rainfall moving into Bemidji and toward Tent Strike as well. And then this is just exiting Lower Red Lake. So for our friends in Lower Red Lake, in Clearbrook, conditions improving, but in Bemidji, conditions about to deteriorate very quickly. And also for our friends there at Itasca, watch out for some heavier downpours as this system makes its way through. So of course, Stacy, Tom, We'll talk more about what we can expect from these storms tonight, but also get a look ahead to that business week, the shortened business week here in a few minutes.
All right. Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah.
The Greenwood fire is far from over, but progress is being made, and hopefully after today some more funding is on its way. Governor Walz toured the devastation in northern Minnesota today, along with Senators Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith. The senators say they plan to take what they learned from the tour to Washington next week, hoping to bring more resources and better pay to firefighters.
I'm really struck by places like this where there is just such deep damage, and it's going to take a long time to grow back.
I was talking to folks here from Idaho, from Illinois, from Connecticut. These are our American neighbors who came here to Minnesota when we needed them. We help in other places, but I'm just grateful they're here.
Senators Klobuchar and Smith have already sent a letter to the U.S. Forest Service urging the agency to send resources to northern Minnesota.
Local restaurant owners and bar owners are optimistic tonight. The staffing shortage that has gripped most establishments for more than a year is finally nearing its end as the pandemic unemployment assistance program comes to an end.
Be honest with the system. Pandemic, yeah, it's not fun, but I mean, just be honest with the system and, do your thing. Get back to work and get busy, get living life again.
Sonia Donahue, who you just heard from, says thankfully the speakeasy hasn't been hit quite as hard by staff shortages, but just down the road at Legends Bar and Grill, staff there say they still need 25 employees across their 3 locations, specifically kitchen staff. North Dakota currently has more than 18,000 job openings, while the state officials in Minnesota report more than 120,000 openings.
We're told more and more patients are testing positive for infections that are not COVID-19. Hospital staff across Minnesota are treating an increasing number of children with RSV. Traditionally, RSV infects kids ages 5 and younger, but this latest strain is infecting older kids, and that's unusual, especially because the virus is most often seen in the winter. With the rise in COVID cases in children as well, parents are urged to get their kids tested.
We have seen a lot more COVID in kids lately, and we've also seen a lot more RSV. But without the test, it's hard to tell one from the other because they're both cold viruses.
Other tips for parents include keeping children at home if they're sick and frequently washing their hands.
As parents, teachers, and students across many parts of Minnesota prepare for the start of classes tomorrow, some health experts say there may be other challenges as schools navigate another year impacted by COVID-19. Data shows that throughout the pandemic, young people have experienced poor mental health outcomes. Dr. Madeline Gagnon is encouraging parents to be proactive when it comes to their child's mental health.
Let them process their feelings. Let them have space to say what they need to say. Provide reassurances where you accurately can, and then help them move forward.
The doctor says 1 in 3 teens were struggling with an underdiagnosed anxiety disorder even before the pandemic began.
Tomorrow, the pretrial hearings resume in the case of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 4 others who allegedly plotted the attacks on 9/11. This comes the week before the 20th anniversary of the hijacked plane crashes in New York, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. The pretrial hearings were put on hold a year and a half ago, largely because of the pandemic and unresolved legal issues. If convicted, the 5 suspects could get the death penalty. Officials in Washington raising concerns tonight about potential violence on Capitol Hill during a rally planned for September 18th. Hundreds of people are expected to protest outside the Capitol that day in support of January 6th demonstrators, some of whom remain in federal custody while facing charges. According to CNN, a former Trump campaign operative is sending out plans to get hundreds to the Capitol next Saturday. We're told Capitol Police have already requested support from neighboring departments in Maryland and Virginia to be fully prepared, even if the crowds don't materialize.
We don't know what to anticipate, and it could be, if 5,000 people show up instead of 500, we need to be prepared for that. And so we're gonna make sure we have enough folks in place to handle the demonstration.
Law enforcement sources say there's serious talk of rebuilding temporary fencing that surrounded the Capitol complex for months after January 6th.
A warning tonight from the West Fargo Police Department about the grandparent scam. The scammers will call pretending to be a grandchild and will ask for money to to get them out of trouble. The caller will ask for money to be transferred by wire or will ask for credit card information. Another person will also get on the line, according to police, pretending to be a lawyer. Now, to avoid being ripped off, you're advised to never give personal or financial information in response to a request that you didn't expect. Also, take steps to block unwanted phone calls.
Here's a heads up for drivers in West Fargo. The city is shutting down Blue Stem Drive starting tomorrow from 32nd Avenue to the T intersection of 7th Street East and Blue Stem Drive for building construction in the area. Progress is also being made on the North Cheyenne Street urban reconstruction project. Tomorrow, Cheyenne Street north of the Choice Bank near 2nd Avenue West to Main Avenue West will be closed, and small portions of 1st and 2nd Avenues West will also be closed. Detour routes are provided to gain access to those area businesses. Both projects are expected to wrap up before the end of the month. More details can be found on valleynewslive.com.
And still ahead tonight, an update on a North Dakota boy fighting for his life while relying on donated blood.
And that severe thunderstorm warning for Mahnomen and Norman counties does continue till 10:30. Notice Mahnomen seeing the worst of that storm right now, but down toward the south near Waupun seeing some intense weather as well. Of course, we'll talk about our severe weather chance, and actually that warning was just canceled by the National Weather Service, but of course we'll break down your evening forecast next.